Mom, we signed the papers. My daughter said it calmly, as if she were confirming a haircut appointment. She sat at my kitchen table with a folder in front of her. My son stood by the window, arms crossed, staring out at my rose bushes as if they were the problem. We signed the papers, she repeated. For the nursing home. The word fell between us like a trapdoor opening under my chair. A nursing home, I said slowly. For me. Michael turned. His jaw was tight. It's a care facility, Mom. Maple Grove. It's nice. Doctors on site. Activities. You'll be safe there. Safe. As if I were a glass they were afraid to drop, but also tired of holding. I'm not broken, I said. Just old. My name is Lydia. I'm 72 years old, and this is the story of how my own children decided where I should live, without really asking me, and how that nursing home became the place where I stopped letting other people decide who I am. Sarah's eyes shone, but her voice stayed steady. You fell twice this year. You left the stove on. Noah told me he was scared when you almost slept with him in the driveway. We can't be here all the time. We both work. The kids. I know you work, I cut in. Who do you think worked to raise you? The words came out sharper than I intended. Emma's drawing of a sun smiled down at us from the fridge, bright and oblivious. Sarah opened the folder. Glossy brochures slid across the table, smiling gray-haired people playing cards, a woman being pushed in a wheelchair on a sunny path. It's called Maple Grove, she said. They have a garden, a library, a chapel. We toured it. It's good, Mom. I heard only one thing, we already decided. Do I get a say? I asked softly. There was a small, honest silence. Michael shifted. We start intake next week, he said. You can't keep living alone. It's too much for everyone. Too much. For everyone. I looked around my kitchen, the chipped blue table, the curtains I'd sewn, the cupboard that stuck on damp days. This room had been the stage for a whole life, school lunches, late-night soups, birthday cakes. Now it was a set waiting to be struck. When do I have to go? I asked, because the choice was already gone. At the end of the month, Sarah said. That gives you time to sort things. To pack what you want to bring. As if a lifetime could be folded into 2 suitcases and a box of photo albums. That night, after they left, I sat alone in the dim kitchen with the brochures spread out before me. Smiling strangers. Clean hallways. A bed that wasn't mine. My children had sent me to a nursing home. At the time, I thought it meant one thing only, that they were finished with the hardest parts of me. I was wrong. If you've ever felt like your own children decided what to do with your life without really asking you, stay with me, you need to hear what happened next. Moving out of my house felt like watching someone dismantle a nest. Sarah made piles, keep, donate, trash, while I sat in my own living room trying not to feel like another item that needed a label. Do you really need all these mugs? She asked, holding one with a faded Christmas tree. I bought that with your father, I said. On a trip, before you were born. She hesitated, then put it gently into the keep box, as if saving a snow globe from a flood. Maple Grove smelled of lemon cleaner and something underneath it, old paper, boiled vegetables, endings. A nurse with kind eyes and a name tag that read Carla showed us my room. You'll be sharing with Mrs. Henderson, she said. She's quiet. Keeps to herself. My side had a bed, a small dresser, and a narrow strip of wall where Sarah had taped some family photos. My life, reduced to a collage. Michael set the last box down. Looks cozy, he said. It didn't. It looked temporary and permanent at the same time. When will you visit? I asked. Soon, Sarah said. Every week. Or every other. We'll figure it out. We just have to get through this month. Work's crazy, and Emma has dance, and Noah. I nodded. I knew that song by heart. The first night, I lay in bed listening to Mrs. Henderson snore softly behind the curtain. A cart rattled down the hallway. A TV murmured somewhere far away. I curled my hands under my chin and whispered into the pillow, "This is temporary. They'll see it doesn't suit me. They'll bring me home." They didn't. Days at Maple Grove slid into a schedule. Breakfast at 8. Pills at 9. Chair exercises at 10. Lunch at 12. Bingo, music, TV, repeat. "You're lucky," one aide said as she smoothed my blanket. "Your children must feel better knowing you're safe here." Safe. The word followed me like a shadow. At first, my family visited almost every Sunday. "We brought cookies," Sarah would say, setting a container on the little table. "How's the food?" Michael would ask, glancing at my tray. Emma would show me a drawing. Noah would talk about soccer. We squeezed our news into the space between visiting hours and homework, between guilt and traffic. "We'll call during the week," Sarah always said. "We'll FaceTime," Michael added. They meant it. Then someone had a deadline. A game. A cold. A meeting. Sundays stretched farther apart, like elastic pulled too thin. I tried to keep busy. I lifted my arms in slow circles at exercise class. I sang along haltingly when a volunteer strummed an old song on the guitar. I placed plastic chips on numbers at bingo and pretended to care about sugar-free candy. But at night, when the hallway quieted and the building hummed, there was nothing between me and the thought I didn't want to name. I had been put away. One afternoon, I sat in the lounge with a magazine open on my lap, not really reading, when I heard my daughter's voice behind me. "At least I know she's okay there," Sarah was saying. I couldn't sleep before, thinking of her alone in that house. "This way, I don't have to worry." Michael answered, lower. "Yeah. And the guilt is less. We did the responsible thing. She's being looked after. The guilt is less." They walked past without seeing me, heading toward the exit. I stayed perfectly still, eyes on the same blurred paragraph, until the door slid shut behind them with a soft hiss. I had thought the worst part was that they had sent me here. It turned out the worst part was that, in their minds, the problem had been solved. Something small and tired inside me stood up. Enough. That night, in the dark, listening to the faint wheeze of the heating vents, I faced a truth I had been avoiding. For years, I had organized my life around other people's needs. I had waited for calls, visits, invitations, like a dog waiting at the door. Now, they had found a way to ease their worry. I had allowed them to outsource my life. The next morning, pale light slipped through the blinds. Before Carla came with my pills, I swung my legs over the side of the bed on my own. My knees complained, but they held. I walked to the window and lifted the blinds a little higher. Below, in a fenced courtyard, there was a patch of earth, scruffy bushes, a skinny tree, soil still hard from winter. A maintenance man sprayed water over the roots. The ground darkened, drank, softened. "I am not just something to store safely," I whispered. "I'm still here." Later that day, wandering the hallway to avoid my own room, I noticed a bulletin board I'd never really looked at. Flyers overlapped each other. Chair yoga. Bible study. Movie night. Knitting circle. At the bottom, slightly crooked, was a new one. Resident stories, share a memory, listen to others. Thursdays at 3 p.m. I stared at it for a long time. I had spent months wishing someone would ask to hear my stories. Here was a room full of strangers who actually might. The first Thursday, 4 of us showed up. A woman in a floral scarf. A retired mailman with a limp. A man whose hands stayed folded in his lap. And me. A young volunteer named Hannah smiled. Today, she said, tell us about a day you're proud of. My mind went first to my children, births, graduations, weddings. But when I opened my mouth, a different day came out. I once organized a neighborhood fair, I said. We didn't have a budget. Just cardboard, markers, and stubbornness. I went door to door until every neighbor agreed to bring something. As I spoke, I saw it again, the handmade signs, the folding tables, the smell of popcorn, the sound of kids shrieking over a rigged ring toss. I saw myself taking charge, making lists, solving problems. I saw a woman who was more than elderly and safe. When I finished, the man with the folded hands cleared his throat. I wish I'd lived on your street, he said. The others nodded. It was a small thing. 4 people in a beige room. But it felt like someone had handed me back a part of myself I'd quietly given away. After that, I began to choose differently. I still took my pills. I still ate what was put on my tray. But I also joined the Resident Stories group every Thursday, asked staff if they needed help setting up chairs, sat with Mrs. Henderson and listened to her talk about her husband, walked the hallway with a new resident who couldn't remember where the laundry room was. One afternoon, I asked Carla, is there any place here I could plant something? She tilted her head. We have a little plot in the courtyard, she said. Nobody uses it much. Why? Because, I said, I'd like to put something in the ground that belongs to me. A week later, I knelt in that patch of dirt with a tray of marigold seedlings. My knees protested, but I stayed, pressing each fragile stem into the soil. These are for me, I told the earth. Not for the children. Not for the staff. For me. That evening, my phone rang. Hi, Mom, Sarah said. Sorry we haven't come by. It's been a lot. It always is, I answered, but gentler than before. We'll try for next weekend, she said. If that's okay. It's okay, I said. I've been busy. There was a pause. Busy, she repeated. I joined a group, I said. We tell stories. I planted flowers in the courtyard. I help some of the new people find their way around. My days are not as empty as you imagine. She was quiet. I'm glad, she said finally. I didn't want you to feel like we'd abandoned you. I did feel that way, I said. Sometimes I still do. But I'm learning how to live a life that isn't just waiting for your visits. The words surprised both of us. I don't want you to just wait, she said softly. I just didn't know what else to do. Neither did I admitted. But I'm figuring it out. I didn't know if my family would ever really see the difference. But I did. And for the first time in a long while, that felt like enough, for now. The first time Noah came alone, he was holding a poster board. Mom dropped me off, he said, cheeks pink from the cold. I have a school project. We're supposed to interview someone who built a new life somewhere. He looked around the lobby. I told my teacher about you. About me? I asked. Yeah. He shifted the poster. Most kids picked people who moved from other countries. I said my grandma had to move to a nursing home and she made new friends and started a group and planted flowers. That counts, right? My throat tightened. I suppose it does, I said. We sat in the courtyard near my marigolds, their color defiantly bright. He read questions off a crumpled sheet. What was the hardest part about moving here, he asked. Feeling like I'd been put away, I said. Like a winter coat in the back of a closet. He scribbled. What helped you feel better? I looked at the flowers, at the windows where silhouettes moved slowly, at the bench where we circled chairs for story group. I stopped waiting for my old life to come back, I said. And I started noticing the small things that were still mine to choose. He wrote carefully, lips pressed together. Grandma, he asked after a moment. Are you mad at Mom and Uncle Michael for bringing you here? The old answer rose automatically. I took a breath. I said. For a while. I felt sent away. Like a problem to fix. He looked up, eyes so much like Michael's when he was little. And now? Now, I said slowly, I think they were scared. They didn't know how to keep me safe and keep their own lives from falling apart. They did something that hurt me because they thought it was the only choice. Does that make it okay? He asked. No, I said. It just makes it human. He nodded and wrote human in big letters. Later, after he left with a hug that smelled of crayons and gym floor, I stood by the window and watched his mother's car disappear. I knew the road they'd take back to their noisy, busy lives. I also knew I wouldn't spend the rest of the afternoon staring at the door. Instead, I walked to the common room. Mrs. Henderson was there, dozing in front of a game show. The man with the folded hands sat with a crossword. Story group tomorrow? He asked. Yes, I said. And I have a good one. That evening, my phone lit up again. We're making lasagna tomorrow, Sarah said. Emma wants to try your recipe. She asked if we could bring some and eat with you. In that little dining room by the window. I looked at the photos on my wall, birthdays, holidays, younger versions of all of us. I'd like that, I said. But I'm not doing all the dishes. Sarah laughed, a real laugh with a crack in it. Deal, she said. We just want you there. That's all. For most of my life, I believed my value lived in what I did for other people, cooking, hosting, fixing, smoothing. Now I was learning something different. My presence was not the same as my service. The next day, waiting by the window, I didn't feel like a stored object. I felt like a woman with plans. A woman whose life had shrunk in square feet but grown in depth. My children sent me to a nursing home. For a long time, I thought that meant they were done needing me. Now I see something quieter and stronger. They were wrong about what this place would do to me. But so was I. I am not here just to be kept safe. I am here to keep remembering myself. Sometimes love, when you're older, looks like giving your family space to be imperfect, while refusing to disappear inside their choices. What changed my life wasn't that my children eventually remembered to visit more. It was that, in this unexpected place, I finally remembered myself. If this story touched your heart, you can like this video, leave a comment, or share it with someone who might need to hear it. If you've ever felt treated like a burden, or too old to be included, my next story may speak to you even more. And if you'd like more stories like this, you're always welcome to subscribe to this channel, Lydia's True Stories.